All right, Chelsea fans, here we go. We got to preview the Manchester City EFL Cup match coming at you later today. All right, well, here we go. It's another match day. Chelsea, no rest whatsoever, even though I think we could probably use some, albeit a World Cup is right around the corner, whether or not we want it. So, anyways, Manchester City in the EFL Cup. Obviously, what we're going to be talking about today, we're going to be looking at Manchester City, what they've been up to. We're going to look at Chelsea, kind of where we've been and some things like that. Then obviously, we'll do the lineup prediction as always. I was doing that, and that was tricky. There's just a lot of people not really there right now. That's something that Potter's gonna have to figure out. I mean, how much youth does he use? Does he even use any? Does he just pile on until the World Cup and then kind of make it the manager's problems? I'm not 100% sure, but what I am sure of is that we're going to be taking on Manchester City in the EFL Cup today. It's at the Etihad Stadium, so we're going to be away to Manchester City. Well, I don't think many of you are excited for this match, as am I. No lineups, nothing announced yet. We do have some team news from the manager that we're going to be talking about here in a second. But I don't know. This was a tough draw getting Manchester City. It was not ideal at the time. It is less ideal now when you look at the form of each team. I did think it was interesting, though, here when you look at the team news. Obviously, you got the fact that we had some injuries. You got to play Newcastle Saturday, which will be the last Premier League match before the World Cup. They have a little thing in here about Raheem Sterling. Sterling will face Man City as an opponent for the first time since March of 2015 when he was at Liverpool. Will he play? Is it one too many for him? I don't know. I'm very 50-50 on Raheem playing right now. Especially with the World Cup around the corner. You know that you're going to get Edu Mendy in goal. There's no doubt about that. We're hoping that Koulibaly can jump in because as I went through this, we do not have a lot of defenders. Jorginho has a knock. Kovacic potentially is ready to play. He got some minutes at the weekend. Chukwuemeka is still out. This would have been a perfect match for him. Lewis Hall traveled. Mari Hutchinson traveled. We'll have to kind of see. Sounds like there's a chance youth could feature, but I don't know. Broya, Gallagher, Pulisic, Zakaria, Ziyech are among those who are likely to see more minutes. I'm a little concerned about that. We'll get into more of it. And then I think it's probably just good to know our recent form. EFL Cup has not been great for Chelsea. Obviously, we're runners-up last year, lost in penalties to Liverpool. For that, round four. Runners-up again in 2018-19, semifinalists in the year previous, and then round four in 2016-17. I'd say we've had a lot more success in domestic and FA Cup recently than, obviously, the EFL Cup. It is, notoriously Jose Mourinho targeted that in his first season at Chelsea, and he just had to win the first trophy, and it just set the tone. We'll have to see. Potter's got some quotes on it here in a little bit, but obviously Erling Haaland's a handful. Really hope he doesn't feature in this one. You don't need him for it. And then just so everyone's on the same page for the dates. So if we win, we won't play till post World Cup. And then again, there are no dates to play our games. So with the Champions League knockout round, there's not even a time to play Liverpool right now in the league. So I'm a bit not sure that I really want to advance in this one. If you had to take something off the plate, wouldn't this be the one? Which I know is rude and shocking of me to say. But yeah, I just think we should move it on. One interesting thing I wanted to look at. So when Man City got to play Sevilla in the last round of the Champions League, it meant nothing. City already locked in, and they heavily rotated. I think this is what a lot of people wanted to see Potter do for our match against Dinamo Zagreb, and he didn't. But I just want to kind of point this out because a lot of these players I didn't even recognize. So Stefan Ortega was in goal. Again, not sure who that is. You did have Ruben Dias, Gundogan as starters who, obviously very, very much first team first names on the team sheet. Grealish played, Laporte played, but then you had Julian Alvarez, Sergio Gomez, Mahrez, who's been very much on the bench, Phil Foden, Cole Palmer, Rico Lewis. So you've got what in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 heavily rotated players, essentially over half the lineup. Is that something he's going to do again today? Even look at his bench. He had most of his starters minus, Josh Wilson, Esperand on the bench. I wonder who they have at the weekend. Actually, I should probably look that up. But it shows that Pep is willing to rotate, and it shows that he's willing to move people around as needed. So as we look at their fixtures, they're being taken on Brentford after this. I know it's away, but probably not that big of a game for them. If we're being honest, they're probably going to look at that and say, maybe we can turn up a little bit in this Chelsea match. But I just want to point out there, he is willing to rotate in certain situations. Is he going to do that for the EFL Cup? I don't know. I hope so. I really do, because we need a little bit of a break if we can get it. So anyways, I think the big one here is the lineup. Look, I did this 3 times over. I still am not settled with this. I have no idea what Potter's going to do. I had Amari Hutchinson in here at one point. I had Lewis Hall in here at one point. I just look and I'm like, do I really have to play Trevo again? I mean, he's played in 7, 8, 9, 10 matches in a row now. I mean, he's got no rest whatsoever. He's got to be fatigued mentally, physically. Koulibaly's coming off injury. We're just going to slot him in for 90 minutes right away. I don't know who else to go to. When you look at the roster of the men's team, right? An unbelievable amount of injuries. Kepa injured. Thiago Silva needs a rest. You got to rest him. He is our highest minutes earner in the Premier League right now. If you look at this, he's at 990. He has more minutes in the Premier League than anybody else. So you got to rest him. Trevo, again, he's played in so many minutes. I mean, he's got to be up here in the Premier League, but he's playing every single match in the Champions League. At some point, you want to give him a rest. Chilwell, injured. Reece James, injured. Koulibaly has coming off an injury. So I guess we're just going to throw him in for 90 minutes. Aspie, probably tired. Cucurella, struggling for form. Fofana, injured. Jorginho, injured. Conte, injured. Kovacic has a knock. Ruben, probably tired. Mount, tired. Zakaria. What do you say about Zakaria? I hope he plays just because he's got minutes. Connor, he's ready. Chukwuemeka, injured. Aubameyang, struggling. Pulisic doesn't get minutes. Raheem Sterling, struggling. Broya doesn't get minutes. Ziyech, frozen out. Kai, struggling. That's a terrible run of form. So when I had to put out a lineup against Manchester City, I don't know what to do. I had us in a 4-diamond-1. I had us in a 4-2-3-1. I don't really know what Potter wants to do. The only thing I would say is that Manchester City, the one thing that you can rely on them is 4 in the back. Whether they do 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, I think you're essentially going to get the same thing. They did go 3-4-3 against Liverpool. I don't think they're going to do that, especially since they lost. I think they're going to stick to a back 4, some kind of variation of 4-3-3. So I didn't want to get outnumbered in the midfield, so I wanted 3 in the midfield as well. Ziyech is in here. Guys, I just looked through, what is Potter going to do? Is Potter going to play Ziyech, or is he going to play Sterling? Is he going to play Omari Hutchinson? I don't know. I really don't know. He's going to play Broya up top? I hope so. Aubameyang? Definitely not Kai. Kai's in bad form. I know he scored a couple games ago, but Pulisic has to start, in my opinion. There's no reason not to start him. You give Mason a break. Connor goes in as the cam. Let him run box to box as an 8. You got Ruben and Zakaria sitting in behind, I guess. I mean, you have to give City respect defensively. So that's why I think you have two CDMs kind of holding. I mean, play on the break. Be shithousey, right? Like, be tough to beat. City are a good team. And I think you just have to respect that. But, like, our defense is what kills me right now with all the injuries we have. You know, you're playing Aspie because you have to. I mean, you want to bring Lewis Hall in on the left side, you can for Cucurella, but I think you kind of need Cucurella to play himself out of it. I don't even know if he's going to the World Cup for Spain. But that's the other thing is now these players are going to start thinking about their World Cup chances. Are they going to really go into every 50-50? Are they going to make that last run at the end of the day? Probably not, right? They're going to hold back a little bit. There's so many players going down injured. Sadio Mane just went down injured. Reece James, they confirmed, is not going to the World Cup. Like, players don't want to take that chance this close to the World Cup. They want to be involved. So, I don't know. I think this game is going to kind of be boring for the most part. The only reason it might not be is because City have all these young players going to be hungry to go and score and prove it to Pep that they should get more minutes. I don't think Chelsea's going to offer much in this match. I think we're just going to be very low energy. I just think that we're going to kind of go out there and see how it goes. And if City put 1-2 past us quick, I think we're just going to roll over. We're in a tough position right now. And I don't know. I don't have a lot of high expectations for this one. I do want to circle back to Potter real quick. It says, why top teams take the Carabao Cup seriously? Yeah, I talked about his time at Brighton. That's not what I'm interested in. There's some quotes here from the manager. I'll scroll. Here we go. So it says, talking about the Carabao Cup, says it can help to get you where you want to go. Which is to be a top team at the very top of the Premier League, which competes for every single title that you can. I think we've realized already that is not an option. If you look historically at the points that Chelsea have got, we're not there at the moment, but that's why we're here. That's what we want to try to do. We want to move towards that direction. If you look at Manchester City, they don't take this competition lightly. They want to win, and all the top teams have that same mentality. Okay, great. But they're flying high, and I don't think they have a ton of injuries. Potter continues, money and resources, of course, you need, but you need an environment. You need a culture. You need to have a mentality. You need an idea that everyone's buying into it, and everyone has to be together on it, and you can't buy that. That's work. That's the process. That's the pain. So that's what Potter's saying his challenge is right now is he's trying to build an environment. He's trying to build a culture. You know, we'll see. He's got all this EQ. His management decisions, I think, have been a little bit interesting. I'm very much here to give him time because we don't really have an alternative. There's no reason to rip up the playbook and start over. I just think it's kind of interesting that that's what he sees as his biggest challenge right now is creating that environment, getting buy-in from the players and moving on. So a little bit low energy from me today. I'm super nervous about this game. I don't have any expectations whatsoever. I do think the sooner we're out of the EFL Cup, the better. We need to focus on the Premier League. We need to focus on, the task at hand. So anyways, I'm out. Hope you have a great day today. Hope you can watch it as well, especially if you're juggling work and family life and friends like that as well. But anyways, I'm out. We'll be back. Full podcast tomorrow, breaking it all down. We're out. See you later.